You know that feeling you get sometimes that the world is being rewired right in front of us? It seems like every single day, these massive changes in tech, our planet, the global economy, they're all happening at once. It can feel a little chaotic, a little overwhelming. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're not just imagining it. Something really fundamental is shifting. So that's the big question, right? Why does it feel this way? How can a tech breakthrough in one corner of the world, a supply chain problem on the other, and a new drug somewhere else all feel like they're part of the same tangled up story? Well, it turns out there's actually a name for this, and it gives us a really powerful way to understand our new reality. Okay, the term we're talking about is polycrisis. Now, this isn't just a fancy word for having a lot of problems at once. The key here, the really crucial part, is that these crises are colliding and actually feeding off of each other. Think about it like this. A shock in one system, say a new technology, doesn't just stay in its lane. It sends these ripples out that hit the economy, which then impacts society, making that final wave so much bigger than the initial splash. So to really get a grip on this, we're going to break it down into three huge transformations, three big rewirings that are happening as we speak. We'll start with our digital world, then jump to our physical world, and finally, look at our global economy. And then we'll pull it all back together to figure out, what does it mean to live in this new era? All right, let's dive into the digital reboot first. And this is a story of incredible, mind-blowing promise. And at the exact same time, this kind of creepy sense of artificiality. And it's all being driven by the explosion in artificial intelligence. It's really two sides of the very same coin. So on one side, we have the birth of these AI agents. And forget about simple chatbots. These are something else entirely. They're autonomous systems designed to actually be our collaborators. I mean, look at this. They have a perception system to take in data, a reasoning system that's kind of like its brain to make plans, a memory system to learn as it goes, and an execution system, like its hands, to actually do stuff online. The goal here is to have an AI that can handle complex jobs we always thought only a human could do. And let's be super clear, this is a huge leap from what we had before. A simple workflow, it's just following a script. If one little thing goes wrong, the whole thing breaks. An agent, though, it's different. It makes its own plan, it learns from its mistakes, and it adapts when it hits a problem. It's really the difference between a puppet on strings and something a lot closer to a thinking partner. But here's the other side of that coin. As AI gets more and more powerful, this fascinating and honestly slightly disturbing idea has popped up, the dead internet theory. The basic idea is that the internet we grew up with is being hollowed out, replaced by a flood of AI-generated content. And that's got huge implications for everything, from whether we can trust what we see online to the health of our online communities. And this is fascinating. This slide basically maps out how a dead internet works. If you follow the arrows, you see how these AI systems just create content on their own. Articles, comments, posts, you name it. Then that content gets blasted out by bots to all these fake profiles, making it look like there's a real bustling community. But it's not. It's just an automated loop, designed to keep us scrolling and clicking, often pushing out any real human connection. Okay, let's move on to our next rewiring, and you'll see how this all starts to connect. This transformation isn't just on our screens. Nope, it's fundamentally reshaping our physical world and even our own biology. We're talking about the spaces we move through and even the very signals inside our own bodies. Whoa, just look at this number. Take a second and just let it sink in. That's over $1.2 trillion. It's a number so big, it's hard to even wrap your head around it. And what is it? It's the projected market for something called spatial computing. This is basically the tech that's going to merge our digital and physical worlds. Think super advanced augmented reality. It's about putting digital information into the real world so we can interact with data in the space all around us, not just on a flat screen. And this isn't just for gaming. This is going to change manufacturing, healthcare, pretty much everything. Now for a completely different kind of physical rewiring. This time it's happening inside our own bodies. There's a new class of drugs called GLP-1s, and they are having a massive impact. Just look at this chart. People using them are drinking way less alcohol and sugary drinks, and they're eating more fruits and veggies. But this is so much bigger than just a health trend. This is a single pharmaceutical innovation that is rewiring consumer demand on a global scale. It's sending shockwaves through the entire food and beverage industry. So we've got a digital world that's rebooting and a physical world that's transforming. And the third major rewiring connects it all. It's a fundamental shift in how stuff moves around the planet. The very logic of the global economy is changing before our eyes. For decades, globalization was pretty simple. It was about one thing. Where can we make this the cheapest? Well, that era is coming to an end. The new logic is something called friendshoring, and the idea is both simple and revolutionary. Instead of only caring about cost and efficiency, companies and countries are now prioritizing trust, security, and who their political allies are. Economics is being filtered through geopolitics. And I think this quote just nails it. The old model was like an open market. Anybody could show up and trade. This new one? It's more like a members-only club. Getting in doesn't just depend on your price. It depends on whether you follow the club's rules and share its strategic interests. It's a massive shift. And you know, this isn't some abstract theory. You can see it happening right now. You see it with giants like Apple, moving iPhone production into Vietnam and India. You see it with car companies like Tesla and Ford, bringing critical parts manufacturing back to North America. And maybe the most important example, you see it with semiconductors, with these massive new factories being built not where it's cheapest, but where it's considered strategically safe. The great rewiring of the global supply chain is absolutely happening. Okay, so let's bring these three huge transformations, digital, physical, and global, back together. How does all this help us understand that feeling of polycrisis that we started with? Here's the most important takeaway. These huge shifts, they are not happening in separate boxes. They are deeply interconnected systems. A breakthrough in AI makes it easier to friendshore a high-tech factory. A new drug changes what people buy, which forces supply chains to completely rethink their strategy. That is the essence of a polycrisis. It's all these interconnected systems, all changing at the same time, with each change making the other ones even bigger. And that leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? If we're now living in a world where all our biggest challenges are this tangled up, we can't solve them one by one anymore. So the real challenge for all of us is to start thinking in systems. In a world that's defined by interconnected problems, where do we even begin to look for the interconnected solutions?